Hey guys, this is KSP with Tape, and today you join me for the finale of KSP Road to Exploration. Yes, the final episode, until of course January, where Season 2 Road to Colonization will start up, and that's going to be in the same save, just a very different goal. But anyway, the first thing we need to do today is go and rescue this rover. We're sending out Bill Kerman with just a spanner, because he is an engineer, but he can't carry too much, because we're going to try and do most of the journey with an EVA pack. Which will hopefully get us most of the way, and then obviously we can just drive back, so that'll be pretty quick. So here we are on 4x time accelerator, just flying across the surface using the EVA pack, which isn't super easy because there is a bit of an atmosphere, even though it is quite tenuous, and also it is a reasonably high gravity world, Duna, but the EVA pack gets us pretty far, to about 6 kilometers away, so that kind of halves the amount of distance I have to sprint, which will take a while. But anyway, we land kind of hard, and then just start running. We've traveled pretty far. Not bad at all. Anyway, so, we start running on over there, and this will take a bit of a while. But don't worry, I will spare you the running. And here we are, just a little later, still running, getting closer. Took a bit of time, and then we're going to just run up the hill, get nice and close, as you can see here, just run over that ridge, go and see the rover, and see what we can do to get it. Because we really want this rover. It's a cool rover. We need a rover. And also, this whole rover mission with its satellites has been a big old failure, so we want this to at least succeed. So here it is, all flipped over and annoying, and we need to do something about it. And my first plans are just kind of crazy, so we're going to put it in 4x time accelerator so you can see everything I tried. The first idea was obviously just try and flip the thing, but it's too heavy and too hard to flip, so I can't do that. So I stop it rolling. And I'm like, okay, it's time to get into the rover. So I try and find myself a seat I can get into, try and drive it out, but that doesn't seem to work. I can't twist it. When I get out of the seat, my head Bill's head gets kind of stuck a bit. But eventually I pop out, get under the rover, and then see if I can jump it out. And then everything explodes, and I'm like, oh my god. Bill has hurled from the craft, the crane tumbles down the hill, and the rover is flung off over there. There's a large explosion, but when I go and check the rover, it's just a few solar panels that have broken. It's a very durable vehicle. It's actually still alive. So we need to go and catch this before it runs away, because we don't have any control over this because the antenna is down. So we've used the rest of our EVA fuel to try and catch up with it, because it is rolling faster than we can run. We eventually do catch up with it, as you can see, but it is rolling, and just as we run out of propellant, we land too far from it, and it is rolling away from us. But I'm not giving up that easily. I can see that there's a hill over there, which it'll have to slow down on, because it'll roll, and then roll up the hill, and then roll back towards me, hopefully, or something like that. So we're going to chase after it, and you can see here that it does, stop on the hill. This is actually a physics glitch. Things stop moving when you're time accelerating, and they're about 300 meters away from you. So I get up to it, and I'm like, yes, I'm going to get in the rover, we're going to drive home, it's going to be great, it's perfectly stationary, what could happen? I turn off time acceleration, then it starts to roll again away from me. I try and get in the seat, but I don't stop walking quick enough, so I miss my chance, and it runs away from me. So now I have to chase it again as it slowly slips away from me. And then I catch it once more. I'm like, okay, this time I'm going to get into it. It's stopped. It's going to be fine. And then it rolls away from me again. It's trolling me. The rover is trolling me. What a huge bitch. And there it goes down an even steeper hill. But eventually I do get up to it. I don't turn off time accelerate because I'm not chasing it again. I get in the seat. I get in the seat just as it starts rolling, and there we are, nice and in the rover. And then it's just a matter of driving back. It's quite a long drive, but not that bad because we can travel pretty fast, because Duna has reasonably high gravity and isn't too bumpy. It's got smooth curves, unlike the moon. So we can go pretty much 20-30 meters per second the whole way back, which is really nice. And this is a very durable rover, so that's quite good. So yeah, we just take a bit of a drive, and then we see some nice terrain, like this little bit where we're just kind of heading down this hill, and there's a kind of little bit of a lip there. It's just kind of nice, smooth terrain. It's just, I like driving around the planets on KSP, although it does take a long time. But yeah, anyway, so then eventually we see the base. I've turned off the markers so you can just see it in all of its glory, glinting a few hundred meters away, and it looks rather nice there. And then we arrive. And I was actually just going to leave it next to the base, and I was like, wait, the whole point of saving this rover was to use that goddamn garage I brought with me. That cost billions of dollars to bring that garage here, so I'm going to use it. So I get in the back seat so I don't hit my head quite as much, and then kind of force the rover into the garage. And there it is, just kind of being forced in. It's a little too small for anything real. That's the main reason I brought a very small rover. And also because it was fairly cheap. Although I put a massive metal structure on it because I don't know, I like the stupid looking things. And then we get Bill out. He pops onto the top, which is nice because I was worried it would all explode. But there we go. It's back. Anyway, the other part of this mission is, of course, the Ike mission. So we've got the other crew into their APDV, all-purpose Duna vehicle. We're going to grab ourselves a science package, and then we're going to head to the Duna station first to grab some more fuel, because we used a bunch of fuel to go and rescue that spy satellite, that scanning satellite. We weren't spying on any of the Duna people. There are no Duna people. You heard nothing. Anyway, so we do our orbit, our burn to get into a higher orbit so that we can meet with the station, because it's in a bit of a higher orbit because it's also a communication device. We do a little bit of a plane change because we're in a 4-degree inclination relative to it, and then we've just got to plan ourselves a maneuver, which takes a little while, but eventually we get it. In a few orbits time we'll meet up with the station, which will be nice. So yeah, just a fairly small burn. We will have enough Delta V for this whole mission because we have about 2100 meters per second, and Ike is quite a nice moon to land on, as you'll kind of see, and if you've never done it, then it is actually pretty nice. Has a fairly low orbital velocity, but a surprisingly large gravitational pull around a fairly small planet, which is a good combination of things. Anyway, after a bunch of maneuvering in, here we are at the station, and we're going to go dock to it, grab some fuel, and I'm actually going to transfer a bunch of the fuel from the propulsion system into the station after, because I've got a bunch of residual fuel which could be good for future missions. So we actually have an additional mission, all-purpose Duna vehicle mission in the mission plan now, because we have more fuel than we thought we would. This also carries life support, of course, and some monopropellant, because those are also very useful things, and we may need to go and get some more life support for the Concordia before the trip back, because, well, the trip back will be long, and there are 6 Kerbals. So anyway, we're going to grab our fuel, and after doing a little bit of inspection, I do decide to put all of the propulsion fuel, except for, I think 1 tank in to the station. But that takes a little while. So let's leave. Let's start planning our maneuver to Ike, which is a very small one, because it has a pretty big sphere of influence, which I thought would mean it would have a very high orbital velocity. I have been to Ike before, but, I don't remember all of the velocities. But yeah, we get a fairly small maneuver to get into a nice encounter with Ike. Ike is kind of dangerous when you have satellites, because I've had situations where it's pulled in satellites and kind of destroyed them, which isn't super great. But anyway, yeah, you can see we just got ourselves a nice encounter there. A bit inclined, but it doesn't matter too much. And we're going to head on up there, go say hi to Ike, say I like Ike or whatever. Isn't that an old politics joke? I don't remember. Someone commented that last time. Anyway, so yeah, we're going to get all of our science from high above Ike, and then then we're going to get our science from low down on Ike, and then we're going to science on the surface of Ike, because we need that science. We need to complete the tech tree. There are still a few nodes on the tech tree, actually. We are almost done, and this mission will definitely clean that up. But yeah, mostly the science labs have done all of our science in this whole series, such as the one around Kerbin on the Hermes station, which we will be taking a look at later, because you've got a plan for Hermes. A death plan. Anyway, so let's get into orbit, which again, fairly small burn, because Ike has I'm not sure. Is it bigger than the moon? I always had it in my head that it was much bigger than the moon, but it has a much lower orbital velocity. Is it just has a larger radius but is less dense? I'm not entirely sure. I don't know. Anyway, so now we've got all of that science from high above Ike. Let's get it from low down above Ike. We brought a scientist, obviously, so we can reset all of our scientific experiments, which is good, because then we can use them multiple times without having to bring a bunch of these, so that's good. And we've also got an engineer, except I forgot to give him any tools or anything, so he won't be that useful, but, it's good to bring him. It would be pretty lame to leave him on the Concordia. And then since there is such a low orbital velocity, I'm just going to do deorbit burn here so that I can land in the light. And yeah, so we get a bit of money for going into a suborbital trajectory, because KSP just kind of throws world firsts at you, which is good. It's always good to get a little more money. By the end of this episode, we have 3.5 million funds, which is quite good, because we complete a bunch of missions. Anyway, so now it's just a matter of slowing ourselves down so that we don't, dash ourselves across the surface, because it'd be pretty bad to lose our first Kerbals in the last episode. Still haven't lost any Kerbals in this series, which I'm pretty proud of. And then, then we'll go into 1 times time accelerate to see the beautiful touchdown and getting the science, and then actually landing on a slope, and because the gravity isn't high enough, there isn't enough friction, so we just sort of slide down the slope. So I'm going to have to move this a bit, which is fine. We've got a bunch of fuel left. And Duna does have an atmosphere which allows us to aerobrake if we really needed to, but I can't imagine that actually being a thing. So yeah, there we go, not bad. And then we'll just grab ourselves, we get an award for landing on Ike, and also complete part of the Explore Ike mission for landing on Ike, which we will be completing properly later when I realise that I haven't deployed my antenna and can send science back. Anyway, now let's just move this onto a little bit of flatter ground just up there, because we don't want it to be sliding the whole time, because this crew is, actually scheduled to stay here for 20 days, because I have things to do in between them going home. And also, you want to spend a bunch of time on Ike. You want to, spend a little time there. So we're going to grab some more science, and then we'll just grab science for the first time. I didn't do that when I first landed. And yeah, that'll be all good. We'll bring that back probably actually to the station to put in the lab, because that's where we can maximize the actual scientific output. We get in at world first for performing our first EVA with, of course, Valentina Kerman. I want to say it's Valentina Kerman. And we just EVA to the ground. We're going to plant a flag, take a surface sample, take an EVA report, just marvel at Ike, the beautiful thing that looks kind of like the moon from the surface. Going to get a world first for planting the flag, which is good, because more money just for putting a flag down. Just take flags wherever you go. They are money makers in this game. Made a lot of my money just from planting flags places. Seriously, Minmus and the moon, completely dotted with flags. And yeah, I was going to put a message down, but then I forgot the name of the rest of the crew. It's actually Hanye and Adam, but we do plant another flag later because we get a mission to do it. So there will be a proper flag, but we'll see that in a bit. So yeah, grab the science, that's all good. Then we've got to get the other Kerbals out, do their thing, do their stuff. Get, obviously, the scientist out to reset all of the experiments, pull the experiments out of the capsule and put them back in, because that means we can take more crew reports. That's a nice little trick. If you take a crew report, you can only take one in a capsule, but if you take it out and put it back in, you can take another crew report and store them both, which is good. So anyway, we'll get Hanye out to go and look around, and then we're going to get Adam out to go and do a bit of an engineering inspection. They're spending a lot of time in that small capsule. Anyway, he falls over like a professional, turns on his lights to make sure everything's okay, no cracking business, and then we're good. We're just going to stand here, and Valentina is going to take a nice look over that ridge, because she's very curious to see what a ridge looks like on Ike. It looks a lot like most ridges, a lot like the moon. We could have just gone to the moon. A lot of Kerbals are saying we faked the Ike landing by going to the moon, but that's obviously not true. Anyway, yes, what a glorious mission. We've now landed on two bodies around here with Kerbals, which is nice. Anyway, I guess technically a little closer to home. Anyway, around Eve, we've received a mission to get some scientific data from from orbit of Eve. So we're firing up one of our earliest satellites. I think it's the Kestrel 2 or the Kestrel 1, which is an old orbiter around Eve. So we're going to take a quick scientific report, transmit that home, and get a little bit of money. We've got to time warp until we actually have some a connection, because we have still a pretty patchy deep space network, but we get it. And we're going to transmit that science now, because then we get like 60 grand. I still like getting these missions occasionally where it's like, get some science from this place, and you're like, I have a probe there, which is great. So yeah, let's send that on back. It'll just take a little while, and then we get some money. We get like 60 grand or something like that, which is always nice. Bit of money to buy spaceships. Anyway, talking of money, we receive a couple of contracts, one to explore Bop and one to plant a flag on Ike, and I'm like, I can do that. I've taken on a bunch to explore various Julian things, because I'm gonna head back to Jewel with actually enough power. But anyway, let's go and complete some of these Ike missions. I realized that I wasn't getting a connection because I didn't deploy my antenna, which means I can't send science back because I'm using remote tech. So I'm going to send just one of these reports back that's kind of extra, and complete totally the Explore Ike mission, which will pay out massively. I took on this contract a long time ago, but my probes never completed it. But yeah, we get 250 grand for that. And a little bit of world firstage, or no, just one of the sub-goals of that mission. So yeah, about 300 grand there. We plant another flag after taking down the other one, and get a bunch more money, which is good. Ike has been very lucrative, and we're just going to put down first Ike landing again, and obviously the names of the crew. which I'll spare you the slowness of my typing, which are Valentina Kerman, Hanye Kerman, and of course Adam Kerman. Is it Hanye Kerman? Maybe not, I don't know. I think I may have, well, it doesn't matter. And we get to a bunch of money for planting the flag on Ike. Anyway, back home, we have another mission to be doing. We're going to send up a spacecraft to the Hermes station to remove the final crew of the Hermes, because the Hermes is an aging space station. It's an old science outpost which was made to facilitate exploration of the Kerbal system, but now we need something a little bigger. In Road to Colonization, the Hermes just won't cut it, so we need to get rid of the Hermes, really. I mean, it's just going to be a big bunch of space junk, so we need to go and get our crew off it, cycle everything, remove the things that we do need, like some of the important vehicles, and then we're going to deorbit it. It's going to be amazing, and also kind of sad. I was like, this is such a great space station. But yeah, it's an aging space station. It's always had a few power problems, which I've tried to remedy, but with our big crew, it never generates quite enough power while researching. It's slipped a lot in its orbit, it doesn't store enough fuel, it's a lot of parts, it's a lot of modules just kind of thrown together. Really, it's no longer an effective space station. It has been very good in this series, but it will no longer do. So, yes, this is the final flight to the Hermes station. I'm actually a little sad about this. I know it's just a space station in a video game, but I built it. I built it with my hands. With my hands. And now we're going to destroy it. But it will be awesome, and that will be at the end of the episode. But right now we just need to go and fetch that crew, because we'd kind of like not to kill the crew. They've been doing good work, and one of the things in their deal was we won't murder them. So I'm going to get myself into a very flat trajectory so I have enough time to land that booster, and it's a very flat trajectory actually, very nice. And then we're going to go land the booster, which lands nicely on the ocean, obviously just a Starlight 1 booster, our current vehicle for launching crew into space, aboard the Hermes 1, unless we're launching the, not the Hermes 1, the Ares 1, which is our manned spacecraft. Anyway, after a bunch of maneuvering, here we are at the Hermes station, maneuvers you have seen many a time. And we're going to decouple the stage now. Hopefully it won't hit the station, but it doesn't really matter that much if it does. But it doesn't. And then we're just going to dock to the Hermes. Now, there are a couple of vehicles I don't want to deorbit. The Thor 1 lander and the Ares 4, which is my nuclear-powered ferry spacecraft and my 3-person lander. The Red Origin 2, the 2-person lander, is no longer going to be that useful, and the Ares 2, the very old kind of ferry vehicle, has never been useful and was going to become part of a station but never actually did. So yeah, we're going to dock these together. These will be put onto the new station because we will need these vehicles, and it would be pointless to deorbit them, but everything else is trash. I mean, there are some modules I could probably save, but I want to build a whole new station. Anyway, so we're going to deorbit the booster that brought the Ares 1 to space, and we're going to land it, because obviously we still, even though we have a bunch of money now, we still need to reuse these rockets, because that's cost effectiveness. And we get very close to the KSC, but not quite on there, and then we just land gently on the ground, because this has a lot of fuel left in it, and you can just see the VAB slipping behind the hill, because we were pretty close. I'm pretty impressed with this. Not bad. And then, for the final time, we depart from the Hermes station, and we shall go home with Mitgen, the current kind of lead astronaut, and then the other Kerbals, who cares. No, one of them is very important. She's the only scientist on Kerbin right now. The others are around Duna, because we only have 3 scientists, because the algorithms have been mean to me. Anyway, so then we're going to deorbit. I'm firing up the engines to burn off a little more velocity, and then splash down on the ocean. Anyway, as the penultimate part of this video, we're going to fly by lathe with the, I think it's like the Eagle 2 or something, the vehicle that has run out of, well, it can no longer communicate because it doesn't have the power generation capabilities, but has still managed to explore 2 Julian worlds, which is pretty cool. So we're just going to watch it fly past Lathe, the beautiful blue glassy dot in space, where we could one day live and definitely will be exploring a lot in Road to Colonization. And I'd just like to take this little bit of time just to acknowledge John Glenn, because I know that happened a while ago, because I'm recording this a little in advance, but kind of Thursday last week, John Glenn died, which I was deeply saddened about. He was, of course, the first US astronaut to orbit the Earth, and he was also an astronaut the oldest astronaut ever to go to space, who flew again on a space shuttle as a senator when he was 75, I believe, which is just incredible. Yeah, really, I'm welling up a little bit because he is one of my heroes, and I think he was just an amazing man, and Godspeed to John Glenn. Anyway, yeah, I just wanted to mention that in a video, and I haven't really had one that made sense to do it. But may he slip the surly bonds of earth and touch the face of God. But anyway, yeah, that was really mushy, and I didn't expect to be, like, welling off at this point, but he is just one of my heroes, and, yeah. Anyway, we did get a nice passive lathe, something rather serene for talking about something so sad, which... 2016, just fuck off. But anyway, we're in a pretty good orbit now after that beautiful flyby. We got a few world firsts for flying by and escaping lathe, and it looks like we'll be safe for the next year of orbiting, because we're in a nice, safe orbit here. So yeah, anyway, as the final part of this episode, it is time to deorbit the Hermes. So we're going to flip this the other way. We're going to use the fueling spacecraft to point retrograde, and we're also going to use a bunch of the RCS just to push us out of orbit and watch this fall through the atmosphere to its deep doom, because it's a relic of a time gone by and it's no longer useful to us, so it's time to watch it fall to the surface and just kind of hopefully explode awesomely. But yes, here we are at the end of Season 1, or, well, at the end of Road to Exploration, moving on to Road to Colonization, which will be glorious. And yeah, it's been great. This has been such a fun series, and I think Road to Colonization will be even more fun because it will be much faster and things. So yeah, let's just frame this up for a nice shot, and I'm going to leave you with it just with some music playing over it so you can just watch the awesomeness of the beauty. A lot of it will be at 4 times time accelerate just because, you know, it takes a long time to deorbit a space station. But yes, anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you've enjoyed the series, and just thank you so much for watching. This has been just such fun, and I will see you next time.